Hi, this is Dorothy. Guess what? I've had some of you ask me what exercises, what yoga asanas would be good to do if you've been using your stay-at-home time to garden. Well, my gardening hat here and gardening clothes after working out in the yard for a number of hours, why don't you join me for some relief from gardening? First thing I would do is, oh my gosh, you know what I was doing? Just want to let you know. And maybe you've been doing the same thing. I've been on my hands and knees. I've been back in flexion, pulling garlic mustard. Oh my gosh. And I've been hauling some branches over to the bonfire pile and just generally doing a whole bunch of work out there. So most of that is curving forward. What I'm going to look to do is find relief for that today. And I hope you'll join me. My favorite way to find relief is to come up against a wall, sit with your hip up against it, turn around, swing your legs up a wall, relax your arms out to the sides, let the shoulders just settle down, gravity hugging them down, and maybe some pointing and flexing of the feet. Probably the feet have been pretty stationary if you've been doing your kneeling gardening. Maybe some circles and maybe rotating the other direction. Maybe some windshield wiper action and just resting the heels up against the wall. If I was going to be here longer, I would have grabbed a towel or a yoga blanket and folded it up and put it behind my heels up against the wall, and then had the blanket draping over the feet. And if I remember in my tired gardening brain, I'll show you that at the very end. So the very first thing I would do is, if I only had just a few seconds or a minute, this is my go-to pose. It gets the back nice and straight, the shoulders relaxed down, the head, you've got the cervical part of your spine, your neck in line with the rest of the spine, and you've got the legs elevated, which is excellent for the health, excellent for circulation. And what I do is just check in, notice how I'm feeling in my body, where you might be sore or noticing that you've been gardening, you've been working in the yard, maybe you've been working on your car. Whatever projects, whatever hobbies you've been working on, I think that's an excellent thing to do. But often it's a wise idea to vary up the movements that you do. So when you're ready to come out, bend the legs. You can swing to either side. I'm going to go this way because there's stuff that way. And just pause, cradling your head in your hand if you like, and stay here for 1 or 2 breaths, letting your blood pressure come back to normal. And then what I would do next, if I had been gardening, which indeed I have, is I would come down onto my back. And I invite you to join me and have the feet bottoms down on the ground and relax the arms out to the sides. On the exhale, pressing the low back down. And on the inhale, tilting the pelvis the other way. Many of our hobbies have our backs pretty much stuck in one position for a while. And this is a lovely way to get the cat and cow movements, except I've been kneeling so much and my back has been curved so much, I really don't want to continue that. I'm looking to counter and bring relief to my body, not continue what I had been doing. So personally, I really like this lying on the back version of cat and cow. And then stretching out one leg first, and then the other. Maybe pointing and flexing the toes and the feet one more time. It feels so good getting circulation into those legs. Maybe windshield wipering out those ankles. And then hugging one knee into the chest, maybe exhaling as you do. And letting the arms lengthen as the knee comes away into inhale. Exhale, hugging it in. Inhale, lengthening. Maybe coordinating the movements with your breath. Maybe just going at the speed that feels nice in your body today. And then stretching that leg out, hugging the other one in. Wah! And boy, do I feel it on this side and this hip. So notice, without judgment, maybe you feel it a little bit more or a lot more on one side rather than the other. And then release that one down. So finding length in both of your legs, aligning your spine so you're in a nice, comfortable, straight line. And then when you're ready, maybe put your fingertips on your hip bones, the ASIS, those little bony prominences in front. And I'm going to take my left hip bone and bring it up in the direction of my armpit. And then release back. Then the right hip bone, bring it up in the direction of the right armpit and release it down. So we're not really curving like a C. We're not moving the shoulders so much as we're moving the hips from side to side, coming into evenness, and then bringing the right hip up in the direction of the armpit and releasing down. One more, left hip comes up and releasing down, and the right hip comes up and releasing down. And I like keeping the fingertips on the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine, because that's a nice sense of feedback. You can feel that you're moving your hips this way, but you can really feel if you've got your fingertips resting lightly on there. And let's do that again. Left hip bone comes up in the direction of the left armpit, and your head naturally wants to roll to the side often, so let it roll to the side it wants to. And then bring it back up. The right hip bone comes up toward the armpit, and the head naturally wants to roll toward one side. For many of us, the head wants to roll to the side of the hip that's coming up, but wherever your head wants to roll, just let it roll. So a couple times, always practicing ahimsa, non-harming, never forcing a stretch or a twist. And bringing one leg back down or foot back down, and then the other. And I would do a few more. Oh my gracious, that feels great. Exhaling, pressing the low back down. And then inhale, tilting the pelvis the other way. Just a few more. And then taking one leg down, crossing the other muddy foot over where all that dirt's come in on the bottom of your, or into your shoes. Flexing your foot and just gently pressing right hand into right thigh, or whichever side you're doing first is great. And then crossing hands, the other hand comes to the knee and gently pulling the right knee in the direction of the opposite armpit and finding a beautiful stretch over on the right side of the hip. And then coming back. In jeans, this next one is a little bit more challenging, but it can be done. So when you're ready, interlacing fingers behind that thigh. In my case, right forearm is opening up into that right thigh and gently tugging that left thigh toward the chest. And you can always straighten the arms and gently pull in if that feels best in your body today. Or you can bring that right foot and move it in the direction of your foot just a little bit, as if you were pulling that left thigh in the direction of your left armpit instead of in the direction of the chest. And that is a super lovely stretch. And unclasping, reaching the arms out and letting the legs roll to the side. Bringing your feet bottoms down, relaxing the legs, and keeping your head gazing in the direction of your knees. Unless your back would like more twist, and then maybe bringing your gaze toward the sky, or maybe toward the other hand, but tune in, honor your body. Your body is a magnificent vehicle that carries your mind and spirit through life. If you pay attention to what your body's telling you, and you do loving movements for your body, then it's a whole lot happier a vehicle. Crossing the other direction, flexing the foot, and maybe that left hand presses and opens up that left thigh. And maybe you'd like to stay there, Maybe release, and the right hand comes to the left knee as you gently pull it across your body, enjoying a lovely stretch all in here, or wherever you feel your lovely stretch. And maybe opening it back up, interlacing fingers, and gently pulling everything towards you, using that front forearm to open up the thigh, and keeping that top foot flexed so there's a 90-degree angle between foot and shin. And usually one side is a whole lot more open and comfortable and easy, and the other side's more challenging. So just tune in. Maybe after we're done, because we're almost done, maybe you'd like to come back to the side that was yelling at you or speaking to you, and you'd like to do that one again. Maybe gently bring the foot bottom forward, bringing that right thigh in the direction of the right armpit. And maybe you'll like that stretch. Maybe bringing it back to the chest and gently releasing and gently pulsing in and out. And when you're ready and you feel even, relax the arms. Foot bottom comes down to the ground and just relax. Keeping your head gazing toward the direction of your knees. Unless you'd like more twist, then maybe bringing your gaze toward the sky, or maybe on this side it's comfortable to look toward the opposite hand. Every side is different, every day is different. And then coming back again, straightening the legs one at a time, maybe reaching the arms overhead for a full body stretch, opening the toes and fingers nice and wide. And rolling to the side of choice. Pausing for a moment, checking in, noticing how your mind is feeling, how your body's feeling. And rolling the belly button down toward the earth to come up to seated. And I'm ready to go garden again. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me for this quick gardening relief in our stay-at-home time. Wishing you health, happiness, and namaste.